You know how fast you were going?
What? How fast you were going?
I don't know. 10?
8.
Be advised, this is an explicit podcast. If you're easily offended, get your panties twisted into a knot. Leave now. Run to your safe space. Get your little cloth for your tears. All the opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and his guest and do not reflect the opinions of any local or government agency. Welcome, Woke Up Chronicles podcast. Host Iceman. We're going to do some catch up. I've been slacking. So we're going to do the end of watch for the last 2 months because I didn't do it for July. So I don't do all the other stuff on these. We'll get to the numbers. They were way higher. July, they had 9 officers die. In August, there was 13. So still, like I said, way too many. Lowest this year's been in January, which was 7. So 25 was in April. Like I said, I'd love to see 0, but I don't know if that ever happened. So without further ado, let's pay as much as respect I can to them. I apologize ahead of time if I mispronounce any name. I'm not the greatest at some of these names, how they sound or how it's said. So I apologize ahead of time. So we started on July 4th with police officer Jamison Ritter for the Cleveland Division Police in Ohio. End of watch was Thursday, July 4th, 2024. He was 27 years old. He had 4 years on the job. He was also a military veteran. Police officer Ritter was shot and killed at about 1 a.m. while attempting to arrest a wanted subject. Officers had responded to a house on the street after receiving information that a subject wanted for felony assault was inside. The man exited the home, attempted to flee on a bike before opening fire on officers. Officer Ritter was shot and killed by the suspect. The man was taken into custody and charged with aggravated murder. Officer Ritter was a member of the Ohio Army National Guard. He had served with the Cleveland Division of Police for 4 years and was assigned to the 3rd District. He had recently been recognized as Officer of the Month. There's no information if he was married or had any children or not. Young man, only 27 years old. Next, we have probationary police officer Edgar Ordonza from New York City Police Department in New York. End of watch was Wednesday, July 10th, 2024. He was 33 years old, 6 months on the job. Cause of death was a heat stroke. Probationary police officer Ordonza died after suffering heat stroke at the NYPD outdoor shooting range in the Bronx. He and other probationary police officers were training at the range during a heat advisory when he collapsed. He was transported to a local hospital where he passed away a short time later. He had served with the New York Police Department for 6 months, and he was scheduled to graduate the academy the following week. Police officer Matthew Bowen from the Vacaville Police Department in California. End of watch was Thursday, July the 11th. He was 32 years old, 1 year on the job. Cause of death was a vehicular assault. Police officer Bowen died from his injuries he received from being struck by a vehicle while initiating a traffic stop. He made the traffic stop at an intersection of Leisuretown Road and Orange Drive at about 11 a.m. While stopped along northbound Leisuretown Road, both Officer Bowen and the stopped driver were struck from behind by a driver believed to be under the influence of drugs. The officer was thrown from his motorcycle by the force of the collision. He was transported to the medical center where he succumbed to his injuries at approximately 3 p.m. The driver of the vehicle that caused the crash attempted to flee the scene immediately after hitting the officer, but was stopped by community members and detained until additional police arrived. She was arrested at the scene. He had served with the police department for just over 1 year, and had previously served with the Concord Police Department for 3.5 years. He's survived by his wife, his 2 children, his parents, and 1 brother. We have Deputy Sheriff Fernando Esqueda from the Harris County Sheriff's Office in Texas. End of watch was Thursday, July the 11th, 2024. He was 28 years old, 5 years on the job. Cause of death was gunfire. Deputy Sheriff Fernando was shot and killed from an ambush after locating a vehicle that was wanted in connection to an aggravated assault. The subject had become engaged in an argument with a restaurant employee over an incorrect order and pistol whipped the worker. Witnesses provided responding deputies with the suspect's license plate number, which detectives used to locate in an area of interest using LPRs. Detectives conducted an initial search of the area but didn't locate the vehicle and cleared the area. A short time later, Deputy Fernando returned to the area and located the vehicle unoccupied. As he coordinated with other deputies, the suspect ambushed him and shot him multiple times. The responding deputies transported Deputy Fernando to the local hospital where he succumbed to his wounds. The subject was arrested the following day and charged with capital murder. Another subject was charged with capital murder and tampering with evidence. Deputy Fernando had served with the Harris County Sheriff's Office for 5 years. He was assigned to the Violent Person Task Force and was working mandatory patrols in the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl. He is survived by his mother, father, 3 sisters, 3 brothers, and a fiance. We have Corporal Robert William Sumner from the Oklahoma Department of Corrections in Oklahoma. End of watch was Sunday, July 14th, 2024. 31 years old, 10 months on the job, cause of death, automobile crash. Corporal Robbie Sumner was killed in a vehicle crash on Highway 62, 1 mile east of Meeker Road. At 5:22 a.m., he was driving an Oklahoma Department of Corrections van en route to a medical center when he and another vehicle collided. He was pronounced deceased at the scene. The driver of the other vehicle, also a corrections officer, was transported to the medical center in stable condition. Corporal Sumner had served with the Oklahoma Department of Corrections for 8 months and was assigned to the John Lilly Correctional Center in Boley. He is survived by his expectant wife, son, father, mother, and 6 siblings. Next, we have Corporal Mohammed Saeed or Said from the Melvindale Police Department in Michigan. End of watch was Sunday, July 21st, 2024. He was 26 years old, 1 year, 2 months on the job. Cause of death was gunfire. Corporal Mohammed was shot and killed near the intersection of Oakwood Boulevard and Dix Road while pursuing a subject at 11:38 a.m. Officers were dispatched to a call for service at a nearby car wash. Corporal Mohammed arrived at the scene and pursued one of the subjects who opened fire, fatally wounding him. The subject, who was paroled in June, fled the scene on a stolen bicycle. After an extensive manhunt by local county and federal agency, he was apprehended the next day. Corporal Mohammed's handcuffs were used to secure the suspect. He has been charged with murder, being a felon in possession of a firearm, carrying a concealed weapon, and drug possession. Corporal Mohammed served with the police department for 14 months. He is survived by his parents and his younger sibling. A lot of I don't know if y'all noticed. There's the ages. It's a lot of young officers on here. Next, we have Correctional Officer Hunter Scott Miller, Kentucky Department of Corrections in Kentucky. End of watch Thursday, July 25th, 2024. He was 24 years old, 2 years on the job. Cause of death, heart attack. Correctional Officer Miller suffered a fatal heart attack at the training center. He was completing his physical training test for the emergency response team when he collapsed at 7:53 a.m. Despite life-saving measures, he was unable to be resuscitated and passed away at the hospital. He has served with the Department of Corrections for 2 years and was assigned to the Northport Training Center. He is survived by his mother, sister, and his stepmother. Next, we have Senior Corporal Sages Gilvati. This is the one I went to from Lafayette Police Department, Louisiana. End of watch was Thursday, July 25th, 2024. He was 35 years old, 15 years on the job. Cause of death was gunfire. The corporal was shot and killed during a hostage barricade situation on Martin Luther King Boulevard in Jeanerette. An officer with the Jeanerette Marshal's Office attempted to serve a warrant on a convicted felon, but the subject barricaded himself and two people inside the trailer. When the corporal arrived and other officers entered the home, they were met with gunfire. He died from his wounds. 3 other officers were injured with non-life-threatening injuries. The subject was taken into custody. He has served with the Lafayette Police Department for 11 years and previously served with the Opelousas Police Department. He was a member of SWAT. He was a SWAT team negotiator and supported the Explorer program. He is survived by his wife and his 5 children. Next, we have Deputy Sheriff Raphael Wardlaw from Cook County Sheriff's Office, Department of Corrections in Illinois. And the watch was Tuesday, July 30th. He was 31 years old. Cause of death was gunfire. Deputy Sheriff Raphael was shot and killed at 1:25 a.m. when he intervened in an armed robbery while he was off duty. He was sitting in a car at a gas station when an armed suspect attempted to rob his friend who was pumping gas. Deputy Wardlaw drew his weapon and attempted to intervene in the robbery. In an exchange of gunfire, Deputy Wardlaw was struck in the chest. The suspect was armed with 2 handguns, one of which had a drum magazine and converted to fully automatic. The offender fired 69 rounds at the deputy during the shooting. One of the rounds struck deputy's firearm and disabled it after he had fired 1 round, which struck the subject in the leg. His friend was also wounded. The man was arrested several hours later at a local hospital while seeking treatment for his gunshot wound. He is charged with first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, attempted armed robbery with a firearm, and numerous other felonies. He had recently been released from prison after serving only 1 year of an 8-year sentence for multiple felony firearms-related charges. The deputy has served with the Cook County Sheriff's Office, Department of Corrections for 4.5 years and was assigned to Division 6 of the Cook County Jail. He is survived by his father, who served with the Chicago Police Department, and his aunt, who raised him. We are going into August. We have police officer Demetrix Lavelle Johnson from the Memphis Police Department in Tennessee. End of watch was Friday, August the 2nd, 2024. He was 34 years old. He'd been on the job 1 year, 4 months. Police officer Johnson was killed in a vehicle crash at the intersection of Mississippi Boulevard and Danny Thomas Boulevard at 3 a.m. A vehicle fleeing the scene of a nearby shooting collided with the patrol car Officer Johnson was in. The other driver, who had been wounded in the shooting, was also killed in the crash. Officer Johnson's partner suffered critical injuries. Officer Johnson served with the Memphis Police Department for just over 1 year and had graduated from the police academy only 3 months prior. He was assigned to the North Main Station. He is survived by his wife and his young son. Next, we have Sheriff Roy Sonny Weatherford from Sumner County Sheriff's Office in Tennessee. End of watch was Friday, August the 2nd, 2024. He was 65 years old, 41 years on the job. Cause of death was a fall. Sheriff Weatherford succumbed to injuries sustained the previous day when he fell while attending the 2024 Tennessee Sheriff's Association Conference. He suffered a severe head injury as a result of the fall and was transported to a local hospital where he succumbed the following day. He has served with the Sumner County Sheriff's Office for 39 years and had served as sheriff for 14 years. He had previously served with the Portland Police Department for 2 years. He is survived by his wife, 2 sons, 4 grandchildren, and 3 siblings. Next, we have Master Deputy Sheriff Bradley Michael Link from Lake County Sheriff's Office in Florida. End of watch was Saturday, August the 3rd, 2024. He was 28 years old, 6 years, 6 months on the job, also a military veteran. Died from gunfire. Master Deputy Sheriff Brad Link was shot and killed when he and other deputies responded to a disturbance at a home. As deputies responded to the initial 911 call, they were directed to a second nearby house after apprehending a female subject. When they arrived at the location, they discovered 2 dead dogs outside. A door had been kicked in and they could hear yelling inside. As they entered the home, a subject inside opened fire on them from ambush. Deputy Link was shot and became trapped inside. 2 other deputies were wounded, one critically during the incident and subsequent attempt to rescue Deputy Link. Deputy Link was transported to a local hospital where he was pronounced dead early the following morning. 3 people inside the home were found with self-inflicted gunshot wounds. The female who was apprehended was transported to the Advent Health Hospital for a mental and physical evaluation. She is being charged with principal to murder in the first degree of a law enforcement officer, 3 counts of principal to attempted first degree murder of a law enforcement officer, conspiracy to commit murder in the first degree, premeditated battery on a law enforcement officer, and 3 counts of battery. Deputy Link was a U.S. Army Reserve veteran. He had served with the Lake County Sheriff's Office for 4.5 years. Previously served with the Polk County Sheriff's Office for 2 years. He had also served as an explorer with the Lake County Sheriff's Office as a teenager. He is survived by his wife. Next is Patrolman Troy Floyd from the Summit Police Department in Mississippi. End of watch was Thursday, August the 8th, 2024. His age is not available. 20 years on the job. Cause of death was gunfire. Patrolman Floyd was shot and killed while conducting a checkpoint. A passenger in a vehicle that approached the checkpoint opened fire, fatally wounding the patrolman. Officers from the Macomb Police Department responded to assist the Summit Police Department following the shooting. 2 of the Macomb officers located the subject at a nearby grocery store, exchanged shots with the man. Both officers were wounded and the man was killed during the shootout. Patrolman Floyd had served with the police department for 20 years. He is survived by his wife and his children. Next, we have Deputy Sheriff Hunter Reddy from the Smith County Sheriff's Office in Virginia. End of watch was Friday, August the 9th, 2024. He's 27 years old, 7 years on the job. Cause of death was gunfire. Deputy Sheriff Hunter Reddy was shot and killed while assisting officers from the Marion Police Department with a traffic stop about 5 p.m. A Marion police officer had initiated the stop for a moving violation in the town. However, the vehicle drove approximately 1.5 miles into Smith County before stopping near the intersection. Several Smith County deputies responded to assist with the stop. The driver became extremely agitated after being issued a traffic summons by the officer. The man then shot one of the deputies who approached him. During the ensuing exchange of gunfire, the suspect and a second deputy were shot. The suspect died a week later. Deputy Reed had served with the Smith County Sheriff's Office for 7 years. He is survived by his wife, 3 children, parents, sisters, and grandfather. over a traffic ticket. Next, we have Sergeant Billy Randolph from the Fort Worth Police Department in Texas. End of watch was Monday, August the 12th, 2024. Age is not available. He had 29 years on the job, also a military veteran. Cause of death, he was struck by a vehicle. Sergeant Billy Randolph was struck and killed at a crash scene on Interstate 35 near Sycamore School Road at 5:30 a.m. A tractor trailer collided with the guardrail and caught fire. During the cleanup, Sergeant Randolph was standing outside his patrol vehicle when a vehicle drove the wrong way through barricades and struck him. He was transported to a hospital where he died from his injuries. The driver continued driving, and when she stopped her car, fled on foot. She was apprehended and charged with intoxication manslaughter. Sergeant Randolph was a United States Air Force veteran and had served with the Fort Worth Police Department for 29 years. He is survived by his wife and children. We have Deputy Sheriff Brandon Cunningham from the Paulding County Sheriff's Office in Georgia. End of watch was Saturday, August the 17th, 2024. He was 30 years old, 4 years, 6 months on the job. Cause of death, gunfire. Deputy Sheriff Cunningham was shot and killed while responding to a domestic call. Shortly after 6 p.m., Deputy Cunningham and his partner arrived at the home and were ambushed with a hail of gunfire as soon as they exited their vehicle. Responding officers were also met with a stream of gunfire. When a female attempted to leave the home, she was shot. Deputy Cunningham was transported to a local hospital where he died from his wounds. The suspect was found with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Deputy Cunningham had served with the Paulding Sheriff's Office for over 4 years. He is survived by his son, daughter, mother, 3 brothers, grandfather, and an aunt. Next, we have Patrolman James Crowley from the Chicago Police Department, Illinois. End of watch was Thursday, August the 22nd, 2024. He was 59 years old, 1 year on the job. Cause of death, vehicular assault. Patrolman Jim Crowley succumbed to his injuries he received on September 4th, 1987, when a drunk driver struck his patrol car. Patrolman Crowley, Patrolman William Morris, and 3 other officers were working special assignment for Public Housing North. They were en route to a call of a juvenile with a gun. While traveling westbound, a car traveling north broadsided their patrol car. The officers were taken to a local hospital and released. Patrolman Morrison was pronounced dead on the arrival at Cook County Hospital. Patrolman Crowley was transported to the University of Illinois Research Hospital with severe head trauma. Due to his injuries, he was unable to walk and was confined to a wheelchair. He passed away from his injuries almost 37 years later. The driver was convicted of reckless homicide and driving under the influence and was sentenced to 3 years. Patrolman Crowley had served with the Chicago Police Department for 1 year. He is survived by his mother, sister, 2 nephews, and 2 nieces. I got a lot to say about that one, and I'm not going to do it right now. Investigator Taylor Jamison Bristow from the Carroll County Sheriff's Office in Georgia. End of watch Friday, August the 23rd, 2024. He was 30 years old, 6 years on the job. Cause of death was gunfire. Investigator Bristow succumbed to a gunshot wound sustained 3 days earlier while serving a warrant related to a child sexual exploitation investigation. He was assisting agents with the Georgia Bureau of Investigations to serve the warrant at the home of Don Rich Drive, south of Carlton, at 8:30 a.m. The wanted suspect opened the door and let the investigators in the house. As they entered the home, the man produced a handgun and shot himself in an attempt to commit suicide. The round also struck Investigator Bristow. The investigator was transported to the hospital where he remained until he succumbed to his wounds 3 days later. He had served with the Carroll County Sheriff's Office for 6 years. He had previously served with the Ware County Sheriff's Office and Waycross Police Department. He is survived by his wife, 2 children, parents, sisters, and a brother. Next, we have Police Officer Austin Mather from San Diego Police Department, California. End of watch was Monday, August the 26th, 2024. He was 30 years old, 5 years, 5 months on the job. Vehicular assault was the cause of death. Officer Austin was killed in a vehicle crash at 11:30 p.m. And officers were pursuing a speeding vehicle that failed to yield for a traffic stop. When the pursuit reached a high rate of speed, it was called off. Officer Austin and his partner were responding to the area of the fleeing suspect when the fleeing car slammed into their patrol vehicle at 90 miles an hour, causing the police cruiser to be engulfed in flames. He was pronounced dead at the crash site. The other officer was transported to hospital in critical condition. The driver that was running died in the crash. Officer Austin has served with the San Diego Police Department for 5 years. He is survived by his parents and his sister. Next, we have investigator Wayne David from the Metropolitan Police Department from the District of Columbia. End of watch was Wednesday, August the 28th, 2024. He was 51 years old, 26 years on the job, also a military veteran. He died from inadvertent gunfire. Investigator David was shot and killed when a firearm he was recovering from a storm drain inadvertently discharged. He and other officers had attempted to speak to a man who was in a suspicious vehicle. At about 5:45, the man fled on foot and jumped down onto DC 295, where he threw a firearm in a storm drain. Passing motorcyclists then picked up the man and they fled the scene. Investigator Deputy David was attempting to retrieve the firearm from the drain when it discharged, striking him in the head. He was flown to the medical hospital where he succumbed to his wounds. The subject was arrested 8 days later and charged with unlawful possession of a firearm. Investigator David had served with the Metropolitan Police Department for 26 years and was assigned to the Violent Crime Suppression Division. He was survived by his son and his daughter. His brother retired from the Metropolitan Police Department. Next, we have Police Officer Darren Lee Burks from the Dallas Police Department, Texas. End of watch was Thursday, August 29th, 2024. He was 46 years old. He had 8 months on the job. Cause of death was gunfire. Police Officer Burks was shot and killed in his squad car. At 10:10 p.m., officers responded to an officer in distress call. When they arrived, they approached a man standing near the squad car. The subject opened fire, shooting one officer 3 times and the other officer in the face. Responding officers found Officer Burks in his patrol car suffering from a gunshot wound. As soon as the suspect fled, a pursuit ensued. When the suspect stopped, he exited his vehicle with a long gun and was shot and killed. The 3 officers were transported to the area hospital, one in stable condition, the other in critical condition. Officer Burks succumbed to his wounds. He had served with the Dallas Police Department for 8 months. He is survived by his parents. We have Officer Felicia Carson from the Osage Beach Police Department, Missouri. End of watch was Saturday, August 31st, 2024. 33 years old, 1 year on the job. Cause of death was a vehicle pursuit. Officer Carson was killed in a vehicle crash about 1:30 a.m. while responding to assist another officer who was pursuing a vehicle. Her patrol car left the roadway and struck a tree. Another sheriff's deputy discovered her patrol car on fire and in the tree line. The driver of the vehicle that was being pursued crashed a short distance away and was taken into custody. He is charged with aggravated fleeing a stop resulting in death. The officer had served with the police department for 1 year. She is survived by her husband and her 6 children. And that is it for the officers. We will check on the K9s. We had K9 Archer from Madison County Sheriff's Office in Florida, July 5th, 2024. German Shepherd male, 7 years old, 6 years on the job. He died of a heat stroke after tracking a felon who had fled on foot. We have K9 Vader August 1st, Belgian Malinois male, 4 years old, 3 years on a job. He also died of heat stroke. He was left in a patrol car with the air conditioner running. When the handler came back, the air conditioner had failed and the alarm system on the car had failed to activate, and the dog ended up passing away from the heat in the car. Then we have K9 Odin from the Alton Police Department, Illinois. End of watch was Thursday, August 22nd. He was a Belgian Malinois German mix. He was 1 year old. He had been on the job for 7 months. He was gunfire. He was shot and killed while trying to apprehend a suspect. The suspect was wanted in connection with a shooting that occurred on the night of August 21st. While trying to arrest him, the suspect shot the K9 and his handler. Officers returned fire, killing the suspect. They brought the dog to the animal hospital, and he succumbed to his wounds. The handler is recovering from non-life-threatening injury. That's going to be that. I'm going to try to keep up to make sure I don't have to do 2 months. I know it's a lot. I don't know if y'all noticed that most of these people are very young, averaging about five years on the job. So if you're a religious person, say a prayer for them, keep your families and stuff. A lot of gunshot people, a lot of officers and stuff killed by gunshots. It's a dangerous job, and they gave their life trying to protect their communities and family. So all the respect goes out for them. So everybody be safe out there, and like I said, just keep these people in your hearts and your minds and your prayers.
Some have said that time heals, but gathered together here today, we know that's not true. The facts still remain. The empty chair, the unfulfilled dreams, the pain, the hurt, the loneliness. We ask your blessing upon the families who have been impacted by the loss of a loved one in the line of duty.
Get your hands up. Come on.
Now here's